I want to go over some more of these frequency devices. One of them is like a popular one. It's called Soto Instruments BioTuner. It's designed to be used on the brain, basically. You'll have these two ear clips, and they're attached with these wires here. They actually attach on the ear clips, and they go on the ears. And these are wet a little bit. And you have an ear clip on each ear, and then you turn the device on, and use settings, usually 1 or 3. 4, 5, and 6 are the same setting, except it's half power. I guess they probably had customers complain that it was too powerful, so they, instead of using the volume knob, they got half power settings, you know. Customer's always right? Is that how that works? Anyway, I'm going to go into a couple other things about this. It's my own research, my own theory, conjecture, and from what I've read from other experts in the area of, frequencies emitting from the earth and how they affect the human body. This device, in my opinion, has a lot more uses. Now, I'm going to state this. Nobody that sells these devices can make any kind of medical claims or beneficial claims to the body other than, I think Soto Instruments calls this a relaxation device, right? Which, it's cool. They can't say anything else because of the FDA or the medical establishment or whatever, right? But, I'm going to say this. This thing has frequencies of, like on setting 1, it's 111.11 and 1000. It mixes a couple frequencies, and it does harmonics, right? That's my understanding of it. And I looked at some charts because it took me a while to figure out what the hell is actually going on in this thing, and I like to get a oscilloscope and check it out. But I looked at some charts of what actually frequencies that this thing was putting out, and they very carefully lined it up, the peak frequencies with the chart. It looks like it's doing harmonics of like 111.11 or then 222, 333, 444, 555.5, 666.6, 777.7, all the way up to 1,000. And from 1,000, it helps he's putting out 1,000 frequency, then 2,000, 3,000, and 10,000. 10,000 is a very beneficial frequency. Actually, 111 is a very beneficial frequency to the body at a cellular level. Okay? According to the consolidated frequency list, I'll put it that way. But the point is, it's using harmonics. And not that this is somewhere in the league of Lokovsky's device, where it used a lot of different harmonics, and it covered pretty much the whole frequency spectrum that the body is beneficial to the body. It's still using quite a few of them. So what I do, and I've been doing it, and actually this I think is a quality device because I use the hell out of it. It only takes one battery. I use the medical pads on it. And actually, you can pull these off, use alligator clips on the end of this, and then put it into like bigger pads than these medical pads, and place them on areas of the body. And the reason I say to use the medical pads is this. I've seen a number of things where it wasn't a medical doctor saying it, but it was PhDs that understand about the frequencies of the earth and how it affects the human body, and they had nothing to do with selling this at all. But they were talking about the Schumann earth resonance. So, setting 3 on this adds the Schumann earth resonance. From my understanding, it's the Schumann earth resonance plus the 111.111, plus the 111.11 and the 1000. So it's running all kinds of harmonics. Now the Schumann earth resonance, 7.83 hertz, is coming from the earth itself, right? But you're getting a little add-on from this. The Schumann earth resonance is beneficial to all living things on the earth. It's not the only frequency the earth emits. There's another one out there. I think it's 33, and I think there's a couple more. But 7.83 is the main one. Like when Bob Beck made his blood electrification zapper thing, he used it exactly half the Schumann earth resonance and he used 3.915, which is half of 7.83. I believe that's, whatever half of that is. I think it's 3.915. Okay? So, it has to do with healing the body. Really. And I'm getting at is I've seen very high-end PhDs that talked about how the Schumann earth resonance helps the body heal. Like, in other words, when you stand on a beach, you're directly connected to the earth. The problem is today, most people are disconnected from the earth. They have, vinyl flooring, nylon carpeting in their house. They're in their car with rubber tires on the car. They're walking with rubber soles on their shoes. Nothing, they're never connected to the earth. Now, obviously, you don't want to be walking around barefoot with parasites on the ground that get into your skin, germs and microbes and all this other garbage. On the beach, it's safe. It's pretty much a sterile environment because of the sand and the sun. Bleaches all the microbes out of the thing, and you still stand on the earth and you get that frequency. That's part of the reason people feel better, when they go to the beach. It's not just the sunlight, it's also the frequencies from the earth and the waves and all that stuff. Now, you can that's really partly why they call this a relaxation device. Bob Beck liked the Schumann earth resonance in particular, the number setting 3. Setting 1 was the standard original BT5 setting, and this is BT7. Now they got BT8. I don't know what the difference between. You probably got an extra LED light on it or something. Same thing, basically. It seems to be a quality device because I used the hell out of it and it's still working, right? I used the 9.6 heavy-duty rechargeable batteries, 9.6 volts. They put out a little more volts. So it actually puts a little more oomph in here, so they last a long time when I charge them up. And I've been using this device. But what scientists said that had nothing to do with this Soto Instruments, it had nothing to do with the medical field. They said that if you take medical pads and you actually attach that to a stake driven in the earth, you're going to get the Schumann earth resonance. And say your problem is in your elbow and it's arthritis, that will help it heal with nature's natural frequencies. Now, my understanding is this, and it's really a fact, that when the body has microbes it fights off, it uses the immune system or whatever, right? Say you're fighting off some bad thing in your body, right? Disease, cancer, whatever. I don't know, whatever the hell you got, right? Not to say that this is going to fight cancer, but just figure the theory. The immune system kicks in, it fights off the bad stuff, right? The immune system doesn't heal anything. It's like the soldiers. It's the battle people. It fights stuff, kills it off, and there's a bunch of debris. The debris has to be pulled out, and then the damage has to be healed. The healing comes from other regenerative effects in the body, not the immune system. So Bob Beck, when he developed that zapper, it was to stun the viruses, basically. It also seems to help the ATP production in the cells, improve energy levels, too. But what would happen if you added the Schumann earth resonance to the body? Would that not help it heal? I mean, scientists say the Schumann earth resonance helps the body heal. If you added it artificially, would it not help the body heal? I would think so. So, that's something I want to put out about this device because, people, they're not saying this. Soda's not saying this because, I don't know. It's like, I'm going to tell you something else too, just to interject something here. The frequencies this puts out is not harmful. They're beneficial. You know what frequencies that are harmful? The ones that are in like lots of millions of hertz. This is just in 111.11. It might go harmonically up to 10,000 hertz, 10 kilohertz. Megahertz is millions of hertz. You know what your cell phone puts out? Typically 900 million hertz or 1800 million hertz, megahertz. That stuff is harmful. And you know where you put it? Right next to your ear. Wireless communications? Megahertz, baby. Megahertz. Harmful. The FDA ain't going to say nothing about that. And it's not to criticize the FDA, but you know what it is? Money runs the government. It's not the government itself that's the problem. It's money runs the government. People use this stuff, and they got a nice big sales pitch out there, but every time you stick that cell phone on your head, you're causing damage to your brain. That's a real medical claim that ought to be out there. Actually, I think sometimes they warn about it, especially in Europe. But that should be a medical claim, a harmful medical claim. So, I'm going to tell you though, if they say the FDA or anybody in the government says the Schumann earth resonance is not beneficial to the body, they need to get off the earth. Because it's natural and it's needed by all life. The Schumann earth resonance, even though it was more recently discovered, is needed by earth. It's needed by living things. It comes from the earth. It's needed. So, something that's needed for life is beneficial to life. So if you add a little bit more of it, it's more beneficial to life. If your body needs a little extra power to overcome things, why not add the Schumann earth resonance naturally? In other words, when you're sitting in your chair, like I'm sitting in a chair right now, there's carpet, there's insulation from the chair. I am totally insulated from the beneficial effects of the Schumann resonance coming from Earth. But if I was standing on a beach, I'd be getting a Schumann earth resonance. That would be more healthy. So if I was adding this, right, wouldn't that be more healthy? But that's a claim, right? Yeah, whatever. But if I got a phone stuck to my head, like a cell phone, oh, it's no problem, because you know what? Somebody's getting a lot of money for that. So, we're not going to say nothing about the harmful effects of that, right? Or make any adjustments in the technology to maybe shield people's heads from this garbage, right? Nope, none at all, right? So, I got to put that out there. Anyway, the thing is, I looked at the chart with the harmonics on this, and it's like there's a lot of harmonics going on. I use setting 3 a lot. It has the Schumann earth resonance 111 and 1000, 111.11. So it does all these harmonics from like 111, 222, 333, 444.4, 555 and a half, 66, so, all that, all the way up. And then 1,000, 2,000, 3,000, 4,000, 10,000. And it shows it on its graphs that I saw, okay? And I was very careful to look at where it was hitting, but I knew what it was going to hit mathematically. So basically it's covering a lot of beneficial frequencies for the body itself. So I'm going to tell you this. This thing's a little more, I'm going to say this. It's more than a relaxation device. It helps the body life-giving frequencies. In other words, just like I talked about with Lakowski. Now, this is not up to the standards of Lakowski, because Lakowski used more frequencies, but it's like if you have that tuning fork, it's going bing, you hit the tuning fork, and that's just the tuning fork emitting frequencies, and the body resonates with those frequencies also, which are beneficial to the body. Unlike the cell phone, which is the tuning fork going at 900 megahertz, it resonates the body with 900 megahertz, which is harmful. That's a completely different frequency range. You're talking 111.11, 1,000, and 7.83 on setting 83, on setting 3, 7.83. You're talking, even with the harmonics, it might go up to 10,000, right? With the cell phone, you're talking about 900 million. When you're starting to get into those kind of things, or 1,800 million, that is harmful. But that's, nobody says nothing about that. So, I'm going to say this. The real crime in the United States is not warning people about things that are harmful, and not being allowed to tell people about things that are beneficial. Now, the one thing I always said with the alternative is, the biggest thing that with alternative, and shouldn't be alternative, this should be standard. The wave of the future of medicine, especially with this rip-off Obamacare, and it's all going to collapse because the doctors want $300,000 a year, and they're not going to be able to get their freaking fat paychecks, so the whole thing's going to fall apart. The cost of medical care is way too high, partly because they're not allowing these cheap things to go into the medical system that work. They got to keep a racket. These kind of devices, a lot of electronics people can make these devices. It doesn't have to come from Soto Instruments. There's a lot of people that could make them. Trouble is, very few people know about them. And, it's only shown as a relaxation device. But I'm telling you, and I don't work for Soto, I have nothing to do with them or nothing. It's more than that. It's more than that. And, if you say it's not, you're telling me that the earth frequency, Schumann earth frequency, is not beneficial to the body, whereas it is, and it's scientifically proven. It's been scientifically proven. It helps the body to heal. How much? I don't know exactly. I guess it would all depend on a lot of different circumstances. And see, therein lies the problem with some of this alternative medicine, because if something has a benefit, they exaggerate the hell out of it sometimes, and then it gets ridiculous, and somebody's dependent on this with their life, and it's like they got cancer or some crap, and it don't work, because they got severe cancer. Maybe it's got a little bit of benefit, and you need 20 times the amount of benefit to freaking fight the cancer. So it don't work in that kind of case. But I'm saying it's got more than just, this actually, in my opinion, is a hell of a lot more than a relaxation device. And when the harmonic frequencies come about, and the Schumann earth frequency is doing the same harmonics, like if you have this on setting 3. Also 6 has it. It's the same thing with half power, because some people, I don't know, they don't like to turn the volume down to get the power lower, so they got a half power setting on here or something. But I have never had a problem with this, where it feels like it's too much to me. But anyway, 7.83 is the Schumann earth frequency, and it has its own harmonics going on with this too. That's the same thing you get from the earth. The problem is, most people are disconnected from the earth in modern society. Like I said, you're inside, you have, flooring that insulates you from earth's frequencies. You sleep on a bed that insulates you from earth frequencies. You have shoes that insulate you from earth frequencies. You drive in a car that insulates you from earth frequencies. You have to be connected to the earth directly to get the benefits from it. Ergo, there's electronic devices that do the same thing. It actually has a lot more benefits than just a relaxation device, so I'm going to put that out there. I don't know. I mean, I'm saying this just from scientific research, and I'm also stating again that many of these devices that are wireless and cellular phones are harmful to the body big time. And all those waves, like maybe you have to have a cell phone, but all those waves should be directed away from the head. But, it's not a hot topic. Because maybe it's good for cancer business. I don't know. Who knows? That's the way I see things. But, it's not, what I always said, though, it's not actually the elite and all the money people are doing this. It's the average person. They're too lazy to actually use a little common sense and figure it out. They don't want to bother. They want to be told what to do. And they can be bullshitted too, easily. That's another thing. Because somebody can come up there, talk in a nice, cute voice, throw $500 words out there, and they get snowed. And they got initials after the names. And somebody from some big company is paying them. Nobody's paying me nothing on this. I'm just telling you straight from my own research. There have been a number of scientists with the best degrees out there that tell you that the Schumann earth frequency is highly beneficial to the body and can help with healing. And this device puts out the Schumann earth resonance frequency, 7.83, plus the harmonics. And at 111.11 and 1000, it also puts out on setting 1 and setting 3. And setting 2 is actually the same thing. It just goes on and off. I don't know what the deal is with that. But those harmonics produce a number of frequencies. So I'm going to get into more about this. And I want to say it here on the end. I don't know if Bob Beck was... Well, let me put it this way. The one thing I do know is that if you watch any of those videos on Bob Beck, what he talked about, this does this and this does that, you're not even getting 1% of what this guy knows. Not even 1%. He knows a hell of a lot more than he said in those videos you pick up on the internet. He knows a hell of a lot more. And I'm tending to think right now that the combination of frequencies that Reif used and Lakowski used, that Bob Beck understood way back in the early 60s, he never made any mention of that I see of any kind of video on Google or YouTube or anything. But he damn well knew this stuff, so I don't know why he didn't tell people how to make something that could replicate those frequencies versus making a simple square wave zapper. But I'm going to get into some other ways you could possibly use this Beck zapper and talk about that in a future video. But just remember something. I don't work for Soto Instruments. I got no financial connection to Soto Instruments at all. As a matter of fact, if I said one criticism of Soto Instruments, they ought to offer this to the public for a little less money and keep the same quality. It's very good quality, but it'd be nice if they dropped the price a little more. You know? And I'm not talking about for me because I already got one. But this thing, in my opinion, since it has the Schumann earth resonance in it also, which helps the body heal according to the best scientists, it's more than a relaxation device. And since it has harmonics when you're putting it on setting 1 or setting 3, and actually all the settings have harmonics, it's hitting a large range of frequencies that are very safe for the body and beneficial for the body in a number of different ways. And I'm going to add here again, what's detrimental to the body is when the frequencies get way up there, like 900 million hertz, megahertz. When you go to 900 million hertz, 900 megahertz, like a cell phone, that's detrimental to the body. They don't tell you this though. I mean, you hear a couple things here and there, but they ought to have those cell phones directed away from your head, because you know what's going to happen. There's going to be a lot of harmful effects from that, and already the medical system is overloaded. So, I don't know, man. Just putting out plain common sense. But again, in my opinion, this thing does a hell of a lot more than relaxation. And I have been using it like wrist to wrist with the pads and through the torso and everything else. So, whatever.